bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. My name is Todd David Goldfinger, and here's today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. A father of four, a best friend with a positive personality, a vivacious partygoer. The 6 people who were killed during a mass shooting in California's capital city were remembered by their friends and family Monday as police worked to piece together what happened. Dozens of rapid-fire gunshots rang out early Sunday in the crowded streets of Sacramento, leaving 3 women and 3 men dead, and another 12 people wounded. On Monday, small memorials with candles, balloons, and flowers had been placed near the crime scene. Investigators were searching for at least 2 shooters who were responsible for the violence on the outskirts of the city's main entertainment district that occurred as bars and nightclubs were closing. Sacramento police said Monday that they booked Dandre Martin, 26, as a related suspect on charges of assault with a deadly weapon and being a convict carrying a loaded gun. Jail records said he was held without bail and was scheduled to appear in court Tuesday. It was not immediately clear whether Martin had an attorney who could speak on his behalf. 2 details have been made public as investigators comb through evidence gathered from what Police Chief Kathy Lester called a complex crime scene. Witnesses have submitted more than 100 videos and photos taken during and shortly after the shooting. Next news. 2 Harvard University freshmen have launched a website designed to connect people fleeing Ukraine to those in safer countries willing to take them in. And it's generating offers to help and housing worldwide. Moved by the plight of Ukrainian refugees desperate to escape Russian bombardment across the former Soviet Republic. Marco Burstein, 18, of Los Angeles, and Avi Schiffman, 19, of Seattle, used their coding skills to create UkraineTakeShelter.com, over 3 frenzied days in early March. Since then, more than 18,000 prospective hosts have signed up on the site to offer assistance to refugees seeking matches with hosts in their preferred or convenient locations. On a recent day, Burstein and Schiffman logged 800,000 users. In quotes. We've heard all sorts of amazing stories of hosts and refugees getting connected all over the world. Burstein said in an interview on the Harvard campus, in quotes, "We have hosts in almost any country you can imagine, from Hungary and Romania and Poland to Canada to Australia. And we've been really blown away by the response." End quotes. Next news. A suspect believed connected to the mass shooting in Sacramento was arrested, but the multiple shooters police believe fatally shot 6 people and wounded 12 on a crowded street in California's capital are still on the loose. More than 100 shots were fired early Sunday in downtown Sacramento, creating a chaotic scene with hundreds of people trying desperately to get to safety. A day later, police announced the arrest of Dondre Martin, 26, as a related suspect on charges of assault with a deadly weapon and being a convict carrying a loaded gun. A court appearance was set for Tuesday. Detectives and SWAT team members found one handgun during searches of the arrest came as the 3 women and 3 men killed were identified. The shooting occurred at about 2 a.m. Sunday as bars were closing and patrons filled the streets near the state capitol. The fallen included a father of 4, a young woman who wanted to be a social worker, a man described as the life of the party, and a woman who lived on the streets nearby and was looking for housing. The Sacramento County coroner identified the woman killed as Jontaya Alexander, 21, Melinda Davis, 57, and Yamil Martinez Andrade, 21. The 3 men were Sergio Harris, 38, Joshua Hoy Lucchesi, 32, and Devazia Turner, 29. Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg read their names during a vigil Monday evening attended by grieving relatives, friends, and community members. Next news. For all California's nation-leading attempts to regulate firearms, the state has not found a way to deter those happy to skirt the laws with stolen or homemade and increasingly prevalent ghost guns. In 2 recent examples, police say the first weapon recovered after gunmen killed 6 people and wounded 12 in downtown Sacramento early Sunday had been stolen. The homemade assault weapon a father used a month ago and a few miles away to kill his 3 daughters. Their chaperone and then himself was unregistered. In quotes. People argue that we've got the toughest gun laws in the nation, but They're clearly not tough enough. End quotes. Democratic State Senator Robert Hertzberg said Monday. The latest mass shootings in a nightclub area blocks from the state capitol renewed calls for tougher firearms laws from President Joe Biden. The president also called for Congress to take many of the steps nationwide that California already has in place, imposing background checks, banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, and outlawing ghost guns. The most populous state will consider an innovative new approach Tuesday when Hertzberg, at the urging of Governor Gavin Newsom, expects to take the first step to advance a bill allowing private citizens to sue anyone who distributes illegal assault weapons, parts that can be used to build weapons, guns without serial numbers, or .50 caliber rifles. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. The last time President Barack Obama was in the White House was on January 20th, 2017, when he left to escort his successor, bent on overturning Obamacare, to the Capitol to be inaugurated. Obama returns to the White House on Tuesday for a moment he can savor. His signature Affordable Care Act is now part of the fabric of the American healthcare system. And President Joe Biden is looking to extend its reach. Sign-ups under the health law have increased under Biden's stewardship, and more generous taxpayer subsidies have cut costs for enrollees, albeit temporarily. Biden and Obama are marking the 12th anniversary of the law that back in 2010, the then vice president had memorably called a big expletive deal. Its staying power has been enhanced by 3 Supreme Court victories and an emphatic thumbs-down vote by the late Senator John McCain, Republican from Arizona, which took the wind out of President Donald Trump's efforts to repeal and replace it. Next news. When Democrat Stacey Abrams first ran for Georgia governor in 2018, her lackluster personal finances and a hefty bill from the IRS gave Republicans fodder to question how she could manage a state budget when she struggled with her own debts. She launches a second bid this year that's no longer an issue. Abrams now says she's worth $3.17 million, according to state disclosures filed in March. That's compared with a net worth of $109,000 when she first ran 4 years ago. Her rapid ascent into millionaire status corresponds with her rise in national politics. Since her 2018 defeat to Republican Brian Kemp, Abrams has become a leading voting rights activist. She was considered as a potential running mate to President Joe Biden and is widely credited with organizing voters in Georgia to help him become the first Democrat to carry the state in the presidential vote in 28 years. Along the way, she has earned $6 million, mostly driven by $5 million in payments for books and speeches. That wealth has exposed her to a different line of criticism from Republicans, who hope to portray Abrams this year as an elitist out of touch with average Georgians. Garrison Douglas, a spokesperson for the National Republican Party, accused Abrams of using her campaign, in quotes, as a platform for her own financial gain, end quotes. During a rally in the state last month, former President Donald Trump knocked her for, in quotes, living in these gorgeous multi-million dollar houses, end quotes. Next news. Former Trump administration official now running for Congress in New Hampshire voted twice during the 2016 primary election season, potentially violating federal voting law and leaving him at odds with the Republican Party's intense focus on election integrity. Nat Mowers, a leading Republican primary candidate looking to unseat Democratic Republican Chris Pappas, cast an absentee ballot in New Hampshire's 2016 presidential primary, voting records show. At the time, Mowers served as the director of former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie's presidential campaign in the pivotal early voting state. 4 months later, after Christie's bid fizzled, Mowers cast another ballot in New Jersey's Republican presidential primary, using his parents' address to re-register in his home state. Documents obtained through a public records request show. Legal experts say Mowers' actions could violate a federal law that prohibits, in quotes, voting more than once, end quotes, in any general, special, or primary election. That includes casting a ballot in separate jurisdictions, in quotes. For the election to the same candidacy or office, end quotes. It also puts Mowers, who was a senior advisor in Donald Trump's administration and later held a State Department post in an awkward spot at a time when much of his party has embraced the former president's lies about a stolen 2020 election and has pushed for restrictive new election laws. Next news. Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett said Monday that judges are not deciding cases to impose a policy result, but are making their efforts to determine what the law and the Constitution require. In a nation splintered by partisanship and racked by incivility, Barrett, in remarks at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, appeared to acknowledge that expected court decisions on reproductive rights and gun control would be seen through a political lens and lead to division. She urged Americans to read the opinion and consider the court's reasoning before making judgments about the outcome. In quotes. Does the decision read like something that was purely results driven and designated to impose the policy preferences of the majority, or does this read like it actually is an honest effort and persuasive effort, even if one you ultimately don't agree with, to determine what the Constitution and precedent requires? Question mark. End quotes. She asked. Americans should judge the court or any federal court. In quotes. Is it reasoning that of a political or legislative body, or is its reasoning judicial? End quotes, she asked. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's a continuation of today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will speak to the UN Security Council for the first time Tuesday at a meeting certain to focus on what appear to be deliberate killings of civilians in Ukraine by Russian troops. The dead were discovered after Russian forces pulled out of a town on the outskirts of the capital, Kiev, and have sparked global outrage and vehement denials from the Russian government that it was responsible. The United Kingdom, which holds the Council presidency this month, announced late Monday that Zelensky would speak at the open meeting already scheduled for Tuesday to discuss the situation in Ukraine. Zelensky is to address the UN's most powerful body virtually after it receives briefings from UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, his political chief Rosemary DiCarlo, and UN humanitarian chief Martin Griffiths, who is trying to arrange an immediate humanitarian ceasefire and met with senior Russian officials in Moscow on Monday and will shortly be heading to Ukraine. Videos and photos of streets of Bucha strewn with corpses of what appeared to be civilians, some with their hands tied behind their back, have led to global revulsion, calls for tougher sanctions on Russia, and its suspension from the UN's premier human rights body, the Human Rights Council. Next news. French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire said Tuesday that there is a total determination from all 27 European Union countries for sanctions against Russia that could target oil and coal over evidence its troops deliberately killed Ukrainian civilians. Europe's dependence on Russian oil, natural gas, and coal means finding unanimity on energy measures is a tall order, but the reports of the killings outside of Kiev have increased pressure for tougher EU sanctions. So far, Europe has not been willing to target Russian energy over fears that it would plunge the European economy into a recession. In some ways, it would be easier for Europe to cut off Russian oil than natural gas, because most oil supplies come by tanker and could be purchased from others. But talk of a possible boycott of Russian oil has already helped push up global oil prices this week. Asked whether there was a political willingness to impose sanctions on Russian oil and coal, a move suggested this week by French President Emmanuel Macron. Le Maire said, in quotes, "We will see what the position of the other member states will be, but I think there's a possibility to have unity on the 27 member states on these new sanctions," end quotes. Next news. For the second time this week, the powerful sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un berated South Korea for touting its supposed preemptive strike capabilities against the North, saying her country's nuclear forces would annihilate the South's conventional forces if provoked. In a statement carried Tuesday by North Korea's state media, Kim Yo-jong called South Korea Defense Minister Seo Wook's recent comments about preemptive strikes a fantasy daydream and the hysteria of a lunatic, in quotes. She stressed that North Korea doesn't want another war on the Korean peninsula, but warned it would retaliate with its nuclear forces if the South opts for preemptive strikes or other attacks, which would leave the South's military, in quotes, little short of total destruction and ruin, end quotes. North Korea has repeatedly stated it would preemptively use its nuclear weapons when threatened by rivals as it accelerated its development of nuclear bombs and missiles, which Kim Jong-un sees as his strongest guarantee of survival. In another statement directed toward Seoul on Sunday, Kim Yo-jong called him a, in quotes, scum-like guy, and warning that the South may face a, in quotes, serious threat because of his comments. Her statements come amid tensions over North Korea's accelerating weapons tests this year, including its first test of an intercontinental ballistic missile since 2017. On March 24th, as her brother revives a nuclear Brinkman ship aimed at pressuring Washington to accept the North as a nuclear power and remove crippling sanctions. Next news. Sitting cross-legged on the floor as his wife and 6 children laid plates of fruit on a red cloth in front of him. Violat Khan Samodzoy watched through the open balcony door for the silver of new moon to appear in the cloudless New Mexico sky, where the sun had set beyond a desert mountain. Then, munching on a date, the bushy-bearded former Afghan soldier broke his first Ramadan fast in the United States, far from the Taliban threat. But also the 36 relatives he would be marking the start of the Muslim holy month with if he was still home in Khost, Afghanistan. A few minutes after naan was dipped into bowls of stewed okra and beans, Samadzoi, his wife, and the 2 oldest children retired to worship on their prayer rugs. On Saturday evening, the 2-bedroom apartment filled with the murmurs of their invocations, in quotes. I pray for them, and they pray for me. They miss me, end quotes. He said of his relatives back home. His cousin, Noor Rahman Fakir, who is also now in Las Cruces, translated from Pashto to the simple English he learned working with American forces in Afghanistan. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's a continuation of today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. When a scrappy group of former and current warehouse workers on Staten Island, New York, went head-to-head with Amazon in a union election, many compared it to a David and Goliath battle. David won. And the stunning upset on Friday brought sudden exposure to the organizers and worker advocates who realized victory for the nascent Amazon labor union when so many other more established labor groups had failed before them, including most recently in Bessemer, Alabama. Initial results in that election show the retail, wholesale, and department store union down by 118 votes, with the majority of Amazon warehouse workers in Bessemer rejecting a bid to form a union. The final outcome is still up in the air, with 416 outstanding challenged ballots hanging in the balance. A hearing to review the ballots is expected to begin in the coming weeks. Chris Smalls, a fired Amazon worker who heads the ALU, has been critical of the RWDSU's campaign, saying it didn't have enough local support. Instead, he chose an independent path, believing workers organizing themselves would be more effective and undercut Amazon's narrative that third-party groups were driving union efforts. Next news. Elon Musk is joining Twitter's board of directors a day after disclosing that the Tesla CEO took a 9% stake in the social media platform. Twitter Inc. said in a regulatory filing Tuesday that it entered into an agreement with Musk on Monday that will give the billionaire a seat on its board, with the term expiring at its 2024 annual shareholders meeting. Musk, either alone or as a member of the group, won't be allowed to own more than 14.9% of Twitter's outstanding stock for as long as he's a board member and for 90 days after. Twitter CEO Parag Agrawal said in a tweet that the company had been talking to Musk in recent weeks, in quotes, and it became clear to us that he would bring a great value to our board, end quotes. This also in quotes. He's both a passionate believer and intense critic of the service, which is exactly what we need on at Twitter. And in the boardroom to make us stronger in the long term, end quotes. Agrawal continued. Putting Musk on Twitter's board and limiting the amount of stock he can acquire while as director may be a strategic move on Twitter's part, as Musk became its biggest shareholder and openly questioned the social media platform's dedication to free speech and the First Amendment. Next news. The COVID-19 outbreak in China's largest metropolis of Shanghai remains extremely grim amid an ongoing lockdown confining about 26 million people to their homes, a city official said Tuesday. Director of Shanghai's Working Group on Epidemic Control, Gu Honghui, was quoted by state media as saying that the outbreak in the city was still running at a high level. The situation is extremely grim, Gu said. China has sent more than 10,000 health workers from around the country to aid the city, including 2,000 from the military, and is mass testing residents, some of whom have been locked down for weeks. Most of eastern Shanghai, which was supposed to reopen last Friday, remained locked down along with the western half of the city. Officials would reevaluate preventative measures after the results of tests on all city residents are analyzed, Gu said. In quotes. Before that, citizens are asked to continue following the current lockdown measures and stay in their homes except for medical and other emergency situations. End quotes, Gu said. Shanghai has reported more than 73,000 positive COVID-19 infections since the resurgence of the highly contagious Omicron variant in March. Next news. China has sent more than 10,000 health workers from around the country to Shanghai, including 2,000 from the military, as it struggles to stamp out rapidly spreading outbreaks in its largest city under its zero COVID strategy. Shanghai was conducting a mass testing of its 25 million residents Monday as what was announced as a two-phase lockdown entered its second week. Most of eastern Shanghai, which was supposed to reopen last Friday, remained locked down the western half of the city. While many factories and financial companies have been allowed to keep operating if they isolate their employees, concern was growing about the potential economic impact of an extended lockdown in China's financial capital, a major shipping and manufacturing center. The highly contagious Omicron BA.2 form of the virus is testing China's ability to maintain its zero COVID approach, which aims to stop outbreaks from spreading by isolating everyone who tests positive, whether they have symptoms or not. Shanghai has converted an exhibition hall and other facilities into massive isolation centers where people with mild or no symptoms are housed in a sea of beds separated by temporary partitions. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. John Baptiste wears so many hats, he may need a closet for them all. Recording artist, band leader, musical director, film composer, museum creative director, and scion of New Orleans musical royalty. The multi-instrumentalist won 5 Grammys on Sunday, and despite being on TV all week, not many people may know fully. Baptiste composed music, consulted on, and arranged songs for Pixar's animated film Soul, a midlife crisis movie mixed with a New York jazz fantasia and a body swap comedy. He won a Golden Globe for the music alongside Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross of Nine Inch Nails, and the trio also earned the Academy Award for Best Original Score. Their work on Soul, Baptiste, Reznor, and Ross won the Grammy on Sunday for Best Score Soundtrack for Visual Media. Baptiste has toured globally with his band Stay Human and made a memorable stop at Comedy Central's The Colbert Report in 2014. When producers of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert were considering having a house band the following year, Baptiste and Stay Human were a natural fit. Mutual respect Colbert and Baptiste share is obvious. The bandleader often cheers the comedian's nightly monologue from the piano, appears in segments, and accompanies the musical guests. Baptiste stuck with the gig even during the pandemic, coming up with tunes, both original and covers, on the spot. Next news. Author, playwright, and longtime champion of multiculturalism, Ishmael Reed is receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award for his contributions to literature. Reed is among this year's winners of the Anisfield Wolf Book Award, given for work that confronts racism and explores diversity. The Cleveland Foundation announced Tuesday Percival Everett's novel, The Trees, won for fiction, and Donica Kelly's The Renunciations was cited for poetry. Prizes for nonfiction were given to George McCary's Of Fear and Strangers, A History of Xenophobia, and Tia Miles' All That She Carried, The Journey of Ashley's Sack, a Black Family Keepsake. In quotes. This year, we honor a satirical novel about lynching disguised as a detective story, a poetry collection that remakes the meanings of childhood abuse, an innovative look at the idea of xenophobia, and a story of recovered history based on an embroidered sack. End quotes. Jury Chair Henry Louis Gates Jr. said in a statement. In quotes. All is capped by the lifetime achievement of Ishmael Reed, a genre-bending and genre-transcending colossus of literature. End quotes. Philanthropist Edith Anisfield Wolfe founded the prize in 1935. Previous winners include the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., Toni Morrison, and Nadine Gordimer. Next news. The Great Kansas Comeback, as it will forever be known in the history books, is about more than just one stifling, scintillating 20-minute stretch of Jayhawks basketball. The championship KU captured Monday night traced its roots back to 2020, when the Jayhawks were a team that looked very much on track for the program's fourth national title. Instead, it was KU's come-from-behind 72-69 point victory over North Carolina on Monday that brought that fourth championship banner back to Allen Fieldhouse. The Jayhawks insisted they'd share it with the 2020 team, too. Also, in quotes, "It's partially one for them," end quote, said Coach Bill Self, who has led Kansas to 2 of its 4 titles, in quotes. "Because I always thought the 2020 team was better, more equipped to do well in the NCAA tournament," end quotes, led by Devin Dotson and first-round NBA pick Udoka Azubuike. That 2020 team was, in fact, a team built for a championship. It was headed for a top seeding and the odds-on favorite to win it all. Next news. Villarreal knows its chances of advancing past Bayern Munich in the Champions League will depend largely on whether it can successfully contain Robert Lewandowski, and hopes are high considering the team's recent success against another top striker. The Spanish club is coming off a round of 16 triumph over Juventus, when its defense got the best of Dusan Vlahovic. Villarreal defender Pau Torres said the squad has enough experience facing some of the world's top forwards and will be ready for the task at hand beginning in the first leg of the quarterfinals on Wednesday. In quotes, "These are the challenges we enjoy," end quotes, Torres told Marca TV. In quotes, "Each striker has his style, and we will make sure we know how to make things difficult for Lewandowski. He is a very complete striker. Sometimes it seems like he's not doing much, but in the end, he's always a threat," end quotes. Torres faced Lewandowski with Spain in last year's European Championship, a 1-1 point draw in the group stage when Lewandowski scored a second-half equalizer. Vlahovic also scored against Villarreal in the first leg of the round of 16. Points getting on board in the first minute at La Ceramica Stadium. But neither the Serbian striker nor teammate Alvaro Morata could find the net in the second leg in Italy. A surprising 3-0 win by the modest Spanish club. This has been the daily global news update of Millennium News TV 24/7. Thank you for watching. Please log in to get the latest news on all of our social networking sites: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. On TikTok, we are Millennium News 24. Also, on our YouTube channel, we are News Channel M24. Viewers now on both network, broadcasting, Android, and iOS devices: Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV. All smart TV platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment and latest news, views, and current events. Our Millennium TV apps, Millennium TV USA for Android as well, Millennium News Google. Google us, www.millenniumnews24.com. Please stay with Millennium News 24/7. Thank you and have a blessed day. Thank you.